wasn't manageable before that. And we have about 30,000 folks signed up under the Low Income Fair program. And so it really has allowed us to continue to serve those folks who have...
There was a part here I wanted you to hear. Let me go back.
Recessionary downturn. And
all right. I'm on here with Neal Berlin, and we're watching the Tax Supervising and Conservation Commission budget hearing. And we're trying to figure out how to get this so we can actually watch it and record it, and I'm having some problems here. I wanted you to hear this part about the recession.
Secured by
Here it
funds
comes.
from Metro, which are not at risk. The senior lien payroll tax bonds are at risk because they're supported by payroll tax revenue. So, as we discussed earlier, they are key revenues, but Trimet has exceptionally strong debt coverage thanks to its low debt ceiling, currently at 7.5% of continuing revenues. So we expect to have more than adequate levels of revenue to pay all debt service.
Okay, now you catch that? Okay.
It's hard to concentrate on what she's saying because I'm trying to. It's not.
What she said there is that they're going to be able to pay their debt service. Okay, now the reason why this is significant to me is because that's, this this is how it always goes. I mean, the banks always get paid. Okay, the banks always get paid. The citizens get cut. The employees get cut. But she's talking about how we're not going to have any problem paying our debt service.
Right, and that's for Trimet is the number one issue. Everything else can be stretched out, delayed, cut, rejiggled. But the debt service, that bill comes in like most people's rent, right on time.
Yeah, and right.
I mean, the bill comes in, not the rent.
Yeah, and it's just, I just want to point out that it's the primary responsibility of these technocratic governments is to make sure the banks get paid. It's not to make sure we get our pensions or health care or that the riders get their rides. It's to make sure the banks get paid. And that's the point I was making about this.
And this, at this point in time, as Rob Manuel, former Obama Chicago mayor, says, you should not let a good crisis go to waste. With contract negotiations underway and the time ticking out, heading towards binding arbitration, the handwriting's on the wall.
Yeah.
What Trimet's position is, well, we just don't have the money.
Yeah, these global recessions / depression, these are all planned events. These don't happen by accident. I don't know if people actually understand that, but these are all events that are manufactured. Specifically, this is how they keep the population in control, is by stealing your money or saying that's how they cut our benefits was through the last Great Recession. They said, oh, well, a Great Recession, we can't afford to keep your benefits. We can't afford any fairless square. And, of course, none of the technocrats involved with any of this. They didn't lose a damn thing. Only the employees, the rider. This is always the story of this shit, is that the people on the bottom always lose. And these manufactured economic crises, the whole intent of them is to fuck people. Now, how do you get people to wake up to this? I don't have the slightest idea. It's like they just don't. I mean, you just like talking to Trimet operators. You can lead them to water, but they won't see the truth. You can't get through to them.
And when it comes, unfortunately, to the rank and file, you only have 50%, barely 50%, even voting with a prepaid envelope on any issue, and especially election. And the other half could care less. not only care less, knows less.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the only thing they know is this is my run. This is when I show up. I don't know whether you've been following it, but there's a lot of bemoaning of the new run cuts and how much the overtime has been cut. And
Sounds very familiar. Yeah, it's all about them and their pocketbooks.
And you know, this crisis just fits right in with when it comes to the proposal. Uh, the union, you know, negotiating teams are working hard on proposals.
Yeah, sure.
that are just generating paper that will go nowhere because one, Shirley and John are not going to be able, are not even going to be able to address these issues effectively. Trimet's going to say, well, good, where's the money?
Yeah, Trimet's in the driver's seat, and they have been for years here. And,
I mean,
you couldn't, and there's no.
I mean, you and I have been there with Trimet. That their long-term strategy has come to the point of the union is almost completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, they have chipped away a little at a time. They've never tried to take a big bite, and it's a little chip here and a little chip there, and then new people come in, and they don't even realize what they've lost because they never experienced having it. And now the next, you know, so it continues on. And once the power of strike was taken away, you tell me over the last 2 or 3 contracts where there have been any wins.
No, there's been no wins, no. It's all give back.
And you know, I mean, the biggest thing that,
Your picture.
the only time that you've actually seen, I think, as B. Henry pointed out, let's see, Shirley has made one 15-second appearance on TV since this crisis began. John showed up, in January at one meeting to voice, this was before the crisis actually took hold, and he was, I don't know whether you saw that meeting, he was decrying, you know, that the Trimet is not bargaining in good faith. Did you see the, and I wanted to ask you, there was, I think it was the January or February meeting that Mr. Gonzalez, one of the board members, asked the Trimet attorney whether they had jurisdiction to even ask questions about labor negotiations. And I replayed it like 3 times, that section, and she had leaned away from the microphone with her response. And from what I gather was the answer was yes, which makes sense. I mean, since the board can approve.
Of course they can. I mean, they're supposed to be the governing body, okay?
Right.
But you know, they're sock puppets, as we already know.
And so John, in his pontification, I just caught a glimpse of Kelsey sitting there like, you know, I got you by the short hairs. You can keep doing it. I have to hear you, but I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah. Which he's very good at, that is.
And, you know, I lately have been getting skewed by some of the rank and file.
Yeah, no, the rank and file don't appreciate us lone wolves, Neal. Okay, you know what I mean? They're not grateful for any of our advocacy.
Or our input. I mean,
no,
you know,
they'd rather I just go away. But you know,
they believe wearing a T-shirt and yelling going out and repeating slogans like "We are in solidarity" is really going to.
I mean, they have so much power, though. All they have to do is stop working overtime and RDO and not doing trade. They have all the power, but they're not willing to use it. You know, drive by the book. You know, don't drive by the book. You know, wait for everybody. They have so much power that they can use legally without violating the laws against striking, but they don't have any interest in that.
Yeah, what is really sad, and I was thinking about it the other day after reading a comment that I messaged you about, is that when the union had the power and was holding many aces in the hand, that they never used it, you know, or effectively. I mean, we go back to the point of most of the people who are now working have always thought that there was a step income raises over 36 months. And that was never really the case after Prohibition. That was instituted while you and I were still there.
Yeah.
And I said no to that. I said that was a terrible. My feeling was, okay, after 60 or 90 days of probation, you pick a number, you're doing the same work as I am. You should get paid the same.
Right. Right. No, it's just a method to rip off people.
Well, but here's the real key, and you have to. Most people don't remember it. Is that when they started this, the starting pay, if I recall, the base was $11.37 an hour.
Yeah.
And at that time, Trimet was losing almost 40% of their new drivers after less than 30 days because they were going down the street to Wilhelm Trucking that was paying them 15 something an hour to start, plus full-time work.
Right.
And so Trimet approached the union, and it was Rufus who was in charge, the vice president at the time. And I talked to him. I said, Rufus, I said, this is an easy negotiation. Trimet wants to up the starting pay. And I said, it's real simple. Walk into the CEO office, which was Fred at the time, and I just say, it isn't working your way. Let's just get rid of it completely. And then start walking to the door. And if he doesn't agree, just keep walking. Because they were losing $40,000 a head every 30 days. And they couldn't continue. But no, we didn't play that card. We negotiated, like a $2 an hour start raise.
Yeah.
And in the long run, it came back to bite. It still has bitten the rank and file in the rear end. 18 years later.
Yeah. No, well, the management considers the rank and file equipment, to be, how this neoliberal world is right now. We're just equipment. We're not really people, really. And I really believe that they don't value us as human beings. They have this idea that you're just a dumb bus driver, and your point of view and your labor is not worth anything. And it's been ingrained in the culture, actually, to make people actually believe that it's a profession where only stupid. And they hire a lot of stupid people, of course, which is
right.
on the I think the districts like to have ignorant staff, because they could have a more educated staff. I've always believed that what the driver should be a driver and a road supervisor all combined. They should have the quality of people who can do the job and also be their own road supervisor at once. They don't need a road supervisor to come and tell you everything. You're the road supervisor. That's part of your job, is to be at that level of your management as well as a driver. I've always believed in that model of, you value your driver to that extent instead of devalue your driver and have these part-timers and start them at all the low wages and split shifts. You do all this shit to make sure you don't get good people. You make it so unattractive that you're only going to get the bottom of the barrel type people in there instead of trying to make the job actually attractive. And there's like
I want to switch gears here. I thought Mr. Warner's term was up.
It was. It is up. It was up in January.
Right.
And so was Stovall's.
Right.
But they're still there.
Why are they still there?
Because what are you going to do about it, right? Lane Jensen was the last one that called out Tiffany Schweitzer, and they actually replaced her. But since that time, they added another clause to their little deal saying that they can serve longer at the pleasure of the governor. They changed it after the Lane Jensen incident. I don't know if you remember that incident, but
yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay. He's the one that stood up and started yelling about her, and they couldn't really ignore Lane. Of course, what ended up happening to Lane was prison, jail,
right?
Because he was really getting in their way. And they don't mind people like me and you. That's just, they're just talking on social media. We're not causing a real problem for them. It's just a social media problem. They don't care about the social media problem because they don't care what we think, or anybody else for that matter. They don't care what we or the public think. Why would they? They have complete control of the agenda. We have no control, and they don't care. Just don't bother us when we're having our fucking crony meetings. We're going to conduct business. You
got your 3 minutes.
Yeah, right. And there's no comments. There's no discussion about any of that. They let you talk, and then next. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's in here and out there. I mean, I've watched these people during the testimonies. They're not paying attention. It's fake. So I don't even bother. I could have called in today, and I said, why waste my time? It's just theater anyway. I don't need to call them and talk to them. Fuck them. It's. Last time I did try to call them, they couldn't hear me last month. We can't hear him. Whoops, goodbye. So they thought I was the only person that signed up, and somehow they couldn't hear me, so they just didn't.
Yeah, I'm having a communication problem.
Yeah, we can't hear Al. Somebody said, that's Al. That's that Al guy. Don't let him on here. I'm sure that's what actually happened. Somebody recognized me and said, don't put him on, So so this is how they operate. What they do, it's just like every other level of government. I mean, they have gone to the point where they snub it in our face, really. It's like, I know you all hate this, but we're going to do it anyway. It's like the Trump factor. He's doing everything opposite the majority wants, and everybody knows the majority of people don't want him or don't want anything he's doing. He's got his fanatic minority of banana cakes. But it doesn't matter. He can do what he wants, and nobody can stop him. It's the same scenario we have with the Trimet here. It's like we can all complain until we're blue in the face, but there's not a goddamn thing we can do about any of it, and they know that.
I don't know whether you watched Henry's meeting.
No.
But he pointed out that none of the executive officers have been out on the platform with a mask talking to the rank and file.
Yeah, no, Henry's right about all that. Henry prefers to keep his stuff quiet. And I don't really like these private meetings. If either you're going to discuss stuff or not. I mean, if you want to be secretive, then I don't really care. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I want to be public about everything that I do because I'm not afraid of my opinions not being liked or whatever. Secret groups, I just don't.
Well, put it this way. Some of the people are saying, well, the operator caucus and all the other couple of Trimet, quote, closed groups. I said, they're not. They might be closed, but if you don't think Trimet management is longer...
FBI book is closed. That's FBI book, okay? It's everything you do on FBI book is spied on, okay? And if you have a 700-member group, you don't think anybody in that group is going to tell management what's going on? Shit, even I can find out what's going on in that group, okay? There's nothing secret about it, okay? It's just obvious.
Yeah, I mean, some quote guy who was a mass reposted some of this stuff with a face mask, so you supposedly couldn't figure out who it was. And I'm just laughing. I'm going, what are we discussing that is so secret?
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't discuss these situations publicly, you can't go anywhere with them. I mean, all you have is public opinion, basically. Can you influence public opinion at all? And if you're not interested in being public, then what are you trying to do? Is it a bitch session or what? You're going to make. I got kicked off that group because they were conspiring, and I actually happened to know the person they were conspiring against, and I happened to know that he didn't do anything to them. Okay, so I told them what was going on, and that got me kicked off the group. And okay, fine, whatever. I always felt uncomfortable listening to it anyway. I don't want to hear it, man. I got my scanner. I can hear the real deal. Okay, I hear all you people in real life in your natural habitat. All right, I don't need to hear what you're talking. I know how you are. I lived there for 15 years. Okay, I know how you are.
What has really gotten me, and I don't know why no one has mentioned it. Not the only time the top 3 executive officers seem to do any posting is if they're on vacation.
Yeah.
Or here's a picture of me in my new motorcycle. Here's me getting an award down in Lane County for.
Yeah, right. I know. It's unfortunate that they're not following like Henry's model and having, the Union Minute meeting where they get together with the members on a forum like Henry uses and do that, okay? It's why, and we know why. They don't want to talk to the members. That's why. They don't want to hear you, and okay, maybe it will turn into a sort of a semi-riot, but so what? So what? If you go to any union meeting, that's what you'll find, a fucking riot, okay? People yelling at each other. So why are you trying to be secret about it, okay? This is the format now, is what Henry's doing, what we're doing. This is the way it's going to be conducted from this point on. So get used to it. There's no more of this. Either you come to the meeting or that you don't get a say, which has always been the union's secret weapon. Is like if you don't come to the union, you don't get a say. Well, that's over. That's over, and it's time for the union to say we're not going to conduct business like that anymore. We have to change our methods, and maybe we can actually get some movement in union business if we can get them to stop that. But just like everybody,
it's not to their benefit to open it.
Right, just like Trimet, super secret. They don't want anybody to know what's going on. They don't want you to know what they're doing with the millions they're getting in tax money. They want to keep that away from the public's eye, and they don't even let the public know a board meeting is happening. They don't even put it out on their Twitter. Say, Trimet board meeting will be happening tomorrow, and here's the link. You can watch it online. They don't even do that. They don't even do that. I mean, even the MBTA does that. Okay, New York MTA does that. They allow the public to view the meetings. They tell the public about it. Trimet Twitter has like 40,000 followers. I got like 2. So I tweet to my 2,000, and that's 38,000 followers that don't probably know there's a board meeting. They don't even know I exist. I'm.
Yeah, well, what I see is did you get their latest survey that they've sent out?
Trimet?
Yeah.
I saw it. I didn't fill it out. I don't fill them out.
What it essentially is they're, we're doing the best we can to try to make sure you come back and ride with us.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they are, but it's not going to happen. They're doing well, by the way, you notice that capital projects are all going ahead without any cuts. You notice that, right? No cuts, okay, to the capital. No cuts to the executive management, marketing department, governmental affairs. No cuts to anything going on that's 6 figures. The only people that got cut so far are the Lyft drivers and the Lyft riders. Of course, they're the lowest people on that totem pole. in terms of.
But the gal that criticized me on Henry's bit, I'm sure she is not aware that years ago there was a study, and I think it was an independent study not even via the Trimet or the union. I'm not sure of that. The study about bringing lift back in.
Yeah, that was like a decade. That wasn't that long ago. It was less than a decade, I believe. And yeah, that lift should have never been privatized. But that's all part of the Trimet agenda to put.
Right, and so we'll do it because it's a federal mandate, but it doesn't tell us how we do it. And if you recall, all the different districts were at one time run by different companies, including dispatch on the lift, until first came in and underbid and made sure all those companies got out of business. And they controlled all the districts and the training and dispatch. And so the union dropped the ball years ago of not pushing for the, what about this study about bringing it back in? It would benefit not only the people working, but it would be at less cost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the other thing was that many years ago, the lift people were promised via their, it wasn't executive, their representative, that they would have a seat at the executive board. And they don't to this day. After the election, it was like, oh yeah, forget that idea. We're not going to let you guys be on the executive board. And so the lift people really do not have a seat. They have a, quote, representative, but they don't have a seat on the executive board, which has a vote.
Yeah.
So, so the union themselves made sure that these people were remain at the bottom.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's a terrible reality we have here, and as we watch the greatest depression in history about to descend on us, you know, this is going to be ugly. Okay.
I know you're back east, but Multnomah County is the only county in Oregon that hasn't applied for phase one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So most of this town is shut down. Yesterday there was a city conference via we're doing here. That all the different factions are asking the city for, well, we need 40 million, we need 15 million, we need 20 million.
Right.
For RUP sympathy, we need more money to put all these people in, homeless people in the hotels. Quote, if I was a hotel owner, I was, quote, I refuse service. I mean, you could see what happened in San Francisco. Once they started that program, people were just blocking and says, where's my room key?
Yeah, well, I'm not against that so much. I'm okay with the homeless getting. I mean, what are you going to do? Just let them die? Neal, come on. That's one place I don't agree with you about that.
There's a story that hasn't been followed up. Multnomah County set up an area, and I think it was for like 800 homeless people.
Yeah, downtown there.
No, yeah, somewhere were tents. They were spaced apart. They had bathroom facilities, etc. There's been no follow-up of how many people are living there. You know why? Because they enforced the rules that you couldn't use your drugs and your alcohol.
Yeah, well, I suppose. Look, I don't...
So why would I want to be there?
Good question. I guess they're all addicted people, but I mean, you can't just let them die. I mean, there's huge resources out here. They could fix that problem, but they choose not to fix that problem. Okay, that's a public policy choice. All right. Look, they're going to build a $3 billion light rail. That's still going forward, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe it will pass. I mean, The Portland voters voted yes on another homeless tax increase, which doesn't do anything for the homeless. They still haven't figured that out, that you can keep voting yes on all these increases for the homeless, and the homeless just keeps getting worse and worse. You're getting conned over and over, but they keep voting yes. I mean, people have good hearts. They want to help. They don't realize that giving your money to the government is the same thing as throwing it down the drain. If you want to help the homeless, go give away your money to an actual homeless person. Giving it to the government in form of a tax increase is the worst thing you can do, because they're not going to use it for that.
There have been studies like up in Seattle that there's been a whole new level of bureaucracy, government jobs created.
I believe it.
That the average...
I'm sure they got directors and executive directors.
The average bureaucrat up there, to deliver homeless service, is making $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
To deliver what?
And I'm sure they have a executive director making 150. I mean, that's how it always goes, you know. The bureaucracy always takes at least half the funds anyway.
I mean, if you took the amount of money that Portland spent last year, which was an extra $25 million on the homeless, okay? Divided by the number of homeless that they say they have, which, let's just, according to the count, I'll even be generous. I'll throw it in and make it up to 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you divide 10,000 into $25 million. Do you think these homeless people are getting that amount of service?
No, they're not. No, they're not getting anything. We've seen this going on for years. It's just you're just giving the government your money is really the most stupid thing you can think of to do. I can't believe people do it. I can't believe people actually vote yes on taxing. Okay, I imagine, everybody in Portland that doesn't have a car voted yes on the gassing. I don't have a car, let's vote yes, okay?
Right.
You know what I mean? All the people that don't own property vote yes on property tax increases, because it doesn't affect me, right?
Right, except that if you had...
Except it will affect your rent eventually, but... That's how they get this shit passed, man. It's called divide and conquer and gerrymander these votes. And I personally I question the legitimacy of the elections. Everything else in our life is fixed, so why wouldn't the elections be fixed too? I mean, I wonder if it's even an actual free vote. I have my doubts, if you want to know the truth. But I mean, they're going ahead with, that Southwest corridor should have been shelved 2 years ago.
By the way, no one, they've had some meetings which haven't been broadcast or recorded, and I still don't know whether they're going all the way to the original route, and they're still short money.
I don't know what they're they just want to keep that monster moving, It's a whole, they have a whole...
Yeah, and I think they think that this virus crisis, the golden, this money will come magically to fill the gap for this problem. And what's really kind of weird is, now that you don't have the kind of ridership, and you probably will never have the kind of ridership that you had before.
Very unlikely.
How can you justify building a $300 billion system?
No, you can't. It's not justified. But they're setting the policy, and we're just observing. They don't care about us having any input. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to be like we just keep telling people how great it is, tell them great over and over and over, just like Trump. I'm great, I'm great, I'm great, I'm great, no matter what's going on. It's the same exact method. You just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again to an ignorant public, eventually the public starts believing it, and that they know that the public is ignorant, and the public is easily fooled. It's obvious to anybody with a brain how easily the public is conned into this stuff. I mean, shit, it shocks me now that I'm older and I've lived pretty much. I'm just like, wow, this is really bad. It's even worse than I ever thought it was. I mean, I was never an actual fan of the societal norms, but at this point I'm like, holy shit, this is even worse than I ever thought it was. It's like this whole thing is a scam. Every aspect of our lives is a scam, and we're on the side of the scam where we can never win. And it's become clear to me that how obvious that is. And it took me 60 years to figure this out. Jesus. And Trimet is a perfect example. I mean, they're no different than Trump. They got the cops coming down on all these fucking people, these poor people that are riding around on the train. There's nowhere for them to go, so they live on the transit system. Well, you could like get a big, how about a big warehouse? And you say, okay, here, go in here. It's safe. We'll put a security guard. We won't bother you. You want to do your dope, do it. But go in here. Get off the transit system. Go in this nice warehouse we got for you. We have it out, but they don't do that. They don't do that. So where are all these people that are riding the transit system? This happened in New York. They closed the subways overnight. Now thousands of homeless are riding the buses all the time. I've been reading.
And let alone, I'm sure you've been following now that there's all the drivers are supposed to be wearing masks. There's supposed to be social distancing, no sitting in priority area unless you are, fit that criteria. And they're still asking for fare via the hop pass. And and you're supposed to be wearing a mask on.
Yeah, now they've made it mandatory. Apparently, before it was like you may or you may not. It was up to you, but now it's mandatory.
And they try to up the number of people on the bus, but they went back to 15. So my question is, no one's enforcing this.
No. There is no penalty involved with not wearing.
And
unless you're an employee, then they can fire you. But the public is not.
And the word was out on some of the private groups. If you enforce any of these ideas and policies, you're the one who's going to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I happen to agree with Trimet on that. Just fucking drive, man. I've said it over and over. Just look, it's not your problem. Your problem is to drive the damn bus, okay? Whether people pay or not, it's not your problem. Whether they put a mask, it's not your problem. You're going to drive. Push the button. They got little buttons. Mask refused. Fare refused. Push the button and drive. Don't get in it with these people. You're crazy, man. But I don't know. I mean, they don't understand it. They're not trained properly. Their egos, there's something wrong with their egos, and they feel like they have to control other people.
And the only thing that, and I must admit, I was really shocked. The governor, Kate Brown, asked Trimet to institute a new bus route just for people for cans.
For who?
For people who collect cans.
Oh yeah, they have that. It's going to end next month, though. I'm good with that. Why not? Why not? Are you against that?
Because there's only only one state-owned bottle recycling that's open.
Yeah, well, a lot of people live on those bottles, and
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I know we have a morally bankrupt society, unfortunately, and we're trying to function within it. A bus driver's job is to survive being a bus driver. This is how I look at it. Your job is to survive this job, which means you don't. There's a lot of crazy people out here, people that have nothing to lose by beating the fuck out of you. They have nothing. They have no bank accounts. They have no home. They don't care, okay? If they get arrested and stayed in jail, they don't even care, okay? It's no big deal to them. Don't fuck with people like that because you're going to lose. They'll take a swing at you and they'll spit in your face. They don't care. And people don't understand that. You're dealing with a very and it's only going to get worse as this depression hits.
Well.
It comes, a lot of people are going to be losing homes here. The rents they haven't been paying are all going to come due at once, And that's going to be
Yeah,
a problem for people.
I mean, it's there's not enough money to make up for all. You can't go on forever.
Well, they gave the money to the corporations in the stock market. Here, we print up $3 trillion and we give it to our buddies in the stock market. The people don't get it. You're on your own out here. That's how it is. It's just like Trimet. You're on your own. You can talk. Here's your 3 minutes. Goodbye. We don't. You can think what you want, but we're going to do what we want, and that applies to every single aspect of our lives. And it's the same thing everywhere you look. It's the same thing. I'm okay. You're okay as long as our pensions keep coming in, which
right,
is
with this new negotiation.
You're losing. I seem to be losing you, Neal. Okay, it looks like I've lost Neal. So that was a nice conversation, and I'll wrap it up because maybe his battery ran out.